Welcome to the Startempire Wire Founders Podcast, where we make entrepreneurial founders a top priority. Each episode features risk takers, business builders, community shapers, institutional and government supporters in our local startup ecosystem. Tune in weekly to hear all about what's happening with the movers and the shakers of Southern California's Inland Empire and beyond. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Founders Podcast. Today we are with MobileMary Barnett of Another Brilliant Idea. Thank you, Mary, for coming on. Yes, Mary, I watch you from a distance, and you're doing a lot of things, but we want to know a little bit about who you are, and then tell us about your initiatives and what you got going on these days.
Well, I have to tell you, first off, thank you for having me on your show. It's very sweet. I was very flattered when you asked me to be on it, for one, just because you're cool. And I remember speaking for you at the Word Camp. Yes, years ago.
Thank you for coming. That was another awesome.
That was way back, I think, in 2018, before the world shut down. So that was like a whole other world. But also the fact that this is a founders podcast, I feel very blessed. Or it was called a Startup Wire, right?
Yep, Startempire Wire.
So I started up in 1988.
Man,
so 20
awesome.
years before you had me speak at WordCamp, I had started my business. So
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So literally, I've been in business for 34 years. I'm only 35.
Don't look a day over 25, actually.
I pause for effect. Either people laugh hysterically or they go awkward. Yeah. So, so I started really, I couldn't find my butt with two hands when I started my business. I really just made it up as I went along. I didn't even know what a PO was. My first client said, "Oh, let's get started. Bring in a PO and a contract. We'll see you on Monday." I'm like,
what is that?
And that was before Uncle Google was around. So I couldn't Google what was a PO, right?
Wow.
So I literally had to drive, like in my car, to the library and ask the librarian to use the letters PO in a sentence. I'm like, okay, so if someone said these words to you, what would it mean? And she was like, purchase order. I'm like, are you sure? Because it could be something else. Could be PO'd, like you're mad at me, or it could be.
So fresh in the game. That is awesome.
Yeah. And I literally, like in those days, you took a dime and you put it in a mimeograph machine, and literally this giant book she handed me, and I had to literally put it on a machine, and it was like I had to hold it and it went.
I've never used a mimeograph. I actually don't even know what a mimeograph machine is.
Well, it technically, I guess, was a Xerox machine. Now I think about it. A mimeograph is what we used to use in high school, because I was in ASB and you had to run off copies. And anybody who's over 45 will probably know this. Because you're, I know, just a child. I love that.
No, I'm
but
40.
A mimeograph was where you used a crank, and it would take I know we're getting off topic here, but it's fascinating to those who study history.
This is context.
It took you put it on it was like a blue ink, almost like an ink pad on a sheet that you would type on. And you would put it on this machine and you would crank it, and it would whip the paper, like a stack of papers through, and it would like copy them like a stamp.
Oh, wow.
The paper. And then when you would pass them out to the kids, the first thing, and you'll see this in old movies, you'll see this, they pass out the papers and the kids all do this. You smell it.
The smell of it. Was it warm? Was it warm as well, or no?
No, it smelled like wet ink, but it wasn't wet. It's the weirdest thing. But the paper was damp if you got it straight off the mimeograph. But that was like I don't know what it was. You would hand it out and the kids would all smell. But weirdest thing. God, now that I think about it, we were so weird. Anyways,
awesome.
It was a Xerox machine. But then what I did is I copied a PO and I copied a contract off this big book at the library. I taped it to my wall, and on my little Mac Plus, I had a little Mac Plus, didn't even have a hard drive. I remember taping it to the wall and typing it word for word. Wow. And just changing the word company to, my company name. And I literally made up the company name. Like I was one of those
awesome.
people.
That's startup. That's a startup mentality right there.
Well, don't tell me I can't do something. I think
there we go.
Being the baby of 6 kids, my mantra was, you're not the boss of me. and you can't tell me what to do, So if someone said, well, you can't do that, I'm like, yes, I'm, don't you tell me I can't do it.
Watch me.
That's right.
Man,
anyway,
that's cool.
So that was back in 1988, and it's now 2022. Wow.
And so that's really cool, because of all of the experience that you're bringing into every conversation you have, Mary. And like I said, I was grateful to have you at our word camp, and that was really amazing. And you spoke there, and you brought your expertise. You also helped us around the place too. Help as a volunteer. And I just been watching your business, MobileMary, and now you've launched this live stream. We want to talk about all of the stuff you're doing now. But first,
you're so cute.
First, we want to talk about who is MobileMary Barnett.
That's a very
where did you grow up? I know we don't want to go too deep, but we'll just give you a quick moment to give us context of who you are outside of
that. Is very sweet. Well, I wasn't born MobileMary. That's just my brand name. Born as Mary Alexander. Anyway, so I went to school. I went away to UCLA, and after 3 years, my father had cut me off, and I was working 3 jobs, and I had just fallen in love with my now husband, and he wasn't living in LA. He was in Fullerton,
Okay.
And I remember going, what am I doing? Like, I should probably graduate. And I hadn't claimed a major. I was having way too much fun. Yeah. And I went to my counselor at school, and he said, I said, well, I need to graduate. What do I need to do? Like, I got to figure this out. I'm paying for other tuition and my rent and all this stuff. I have to figure it out. And so he basically gave me a test and said that I was most proficient in marketing and public relations.
Wow.
And I'm like, great. Well, duh. I mean, I had started all these clubs. I was ASB president. I was, had my, sorority. Anyways, my pledge class is not the whole sorority. Anyways, but it's like, I've always been a leader. That's just I'm just bossy,
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I'm like, something needs to be done. All right, you, let's go, let's do it. Let's get it taken care of. Right.
Get it done.
Anyways, but I said, great. What classes do I need to take so I can get that wrapped up? Because I'm in love, and I want, and I'm afraid of who knows it. No, that's a line from Alf. Okay. So he says, well, we don't have any of the classes here.
Oh,
like I should have figured that out in high school, right? I was like,
well, were you on a scholarship, or you were paying? Oh man,
paying for it. But I took regular classes.
Right.
The smartest thing. But I had I met a lot of great people. Anyways, so they said the best school on the West Coast, on this side of Mississippi, is Cal State Fullerton. They have a whole program for public relations and marketing. They have the whole thing there, and that's the best school. So of course, all my friends who started at Cal State Fullerton and then moved on to West Point and, not West Point,
right.
But, like Stanford and, Wellesley and all those big fancy schools, they all started sending me their sweatshirts saying, oh, we're going to Cal State Fullerton. They were making fun of me basically.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you, I learned more at Cal State Fullerton in a year and a half than I did in 3 years at UCLA.
Wow.
The classes were smaller. The teachers were actually working in the industry. So they had real-world experience.
That makes a difference.
Yeah, they had connections that I still keep up with. One of my teachers there, I don't even know the teachers at UCLA. Anyways, but I just had, so much fun. But again, when I got down to business, so I got really involved, of course, in Cal State Fullerton. I got married, I graduated, and then I got a job. So in fact, if anybody's listening who's just still in college, take as many internships as you can. I did 3 internships at a different variety of companies so I could figure out what kind of work environment I liked. So I went to work for a big corporation. I went to work for a small PR agency in a woman's home, actually. Then I worked for a big agency in downtown LA. And I spent the time to really figure out okay, what feels right? Where do I feel like I can offer the most to the company? Anyways, the one who basically hired me or offered me the most money, which wasn't a lot. It was $17,000.
Wow.
Yeah. Which
back in the day, how was that? Pretty good? Is it starting?
No, it sucked. My best friend who went through a 2-year dental hygienist program, got out of school making 70.
Oh my God.
And I was a 5-year senior making 17. I'm like, where did I go wrong? What is wrong with me? Anyways, so I was just so jealous of her. But anyway, so I went to work for Beckman. I had my husband and I had just gotten married the year before. Okay. And we bought each other, I know this is super romantic, but we bought each other at that Mac Plus for our wedding. Yes. Well, because we were so
romantic, techie.
Because we were both in college, and we had projects to do, and that, anyway.
That makes sense. No,
right.
Perfect.
And so I noticed that Beckman Instrument, I'm probably going into way too much detail at this part of my life because I'm still in my story, 24 years old, 23 years old. Anyway.
Wow, okay.
But I thought this was kind of cool. So just to give someone encouragement. So in those days, there wasn't computers on every desk, right? It makes me sound like it was like when dinosaurs roamed the earth. No, there was no computers. People just actually had a desk with drawers and like a pad of paper and a phone. Like that old fashioned thing.
Yeah, the old phone. Yeah, the rotary dial or the punch dial.
Well, no, it was fancy. They had buttons.
Okay. Yeah,
and then line 2 would flash.
Oh, yeah. Big telecommunications movement right at that time.
So one of my jobs at this job, I was in the marketing department, was just a little assistant. My job was to do the newsletter, produce the newsletter. And producing the newsletter meant going and getting articles from different people or writing some myself and then laying it out in their print room, which was like these giant tables. And there was, you literally had to lay them out and put like, you don't even know what this is. It's called Ruby Lith, which is a way to make where the colors go on a newsletter. It's
wow.
Anyway, but I remember
this was desktop publishing back in the
literally desktop. It was on a desktop. Anyways, but I had a desktop publishing app called PageMaker on my Mac.
Oh, really?
It was I had a floppy disk and a floppy hard drive.
Okay.
8 megs each.
I remember the floppy disk and the floppy hard drive. Yes, I remember.
Not the big floppy, the little floppy.
The little floppy.
Which we thought was super cool because the big floppy.
It was half of the big floppy, right? I remember that one. Yeah.
Anyways, and so you'd have to stick one floppy in that had the program, and then you would do whatever you're going to do. And then after like 5 minutes, you'd have to
take it out and save it.
Put it in the drive, save it.
I remember. I was a kid when those were around. Yes.
Yeah. So you're constantly doing this, right? And this Mac did not have a hard drive or a fan. So there's no so this was the whole thing, back and forth.
Yeah.
Very, very time efficient.
Tedious.
Anyways.
The Inland Empire startup ecosystem industry is tremendously fragmented. A few top-tier hubs, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego, are well covered by media, events, and data platforms. Finding reliable information relevant to startups or the tech industry in the Inland Empire is extremely difficult. As a result, startups can't scale fast enough. Investors are having a hard time finding the right deals, and corporates can't find the right companies to partner with for their innovation activities. Startempire Wire, the leading Inland Empire startup publication, is providing the Inland Empire startup ecosystem with the most accurate, engaging business and financial data, events, and news. Our reach of entrepreneurs, C-level executives, angels, VC investors, startup employees, key management at innovative corporates, and big tech is the solution for your B2B or B2C needs. As we build out our platform, we're looking for partners. This is your opportunity to get in on the ground level. If you're looking to align yourself with the local and growing startup and tech ecosystem of the Inland Empire, we have created the platform to get your name noticed and the opportunity for you to grow the recognition of your brand. Contact us today for availability and pricing options. We look forward to our partnership with you.
So I remember going in their print shop and like trying to set this up. And I said, this is really inefficient. And they're like,
yes,
this is how we've always done it. I said, well, I have a computer that I could probably do this for you. And they said, well, this costs us $10,000. And I said, I could do that for free. Like, I was an idiot. So I literally brought my little Mac in every day.
Do your job. Oh my. And well, they were lucky that they were great to have a boy like you.
Well, this is where the story, just wait. There's more.
Okay.
So I brought it in every day. And then after about 2 weeks, my boss said, just lock it in the security closet if you don't need it at home. I'm like, all right. So I would lock it in the security closet every night. And after 3 months and me saving the company $30,000, right?
Wow.
There was no fan. It finally blew up.
It blew up.
Well, it overheated.
Right? Overheated. Yeah.
So I took it to the little Mac fixie guy.
Yeah.
And he said, I can fix it for $300.
Yes.
Seems pretty fair. No.
Uh-huh.
So I brought the bill into the vice president of marketing, and he was, sitting back on his desk, feet up, reading a newspaper. They actually had newspapers back then. I think they
I remember. I love newspapers.
I know. They still have a few. Anyways, and I said, hi, I'm Mary. And he goes, I know who you are. I'm like, hey, okay. So I just want you to know the newsletter that I've been producing, blah, blah. Long story short, here's $300 bill. And he goes, that's not our machine.
Oh my goodness.
And I said,
wow, no way.
I said, I know. It's fine. But I've been using it every day. He goes, it's not our machine. I said, I know, but I've been using it to save. I'm about to save you $40,000. I just have a few more things to, finish to print out the fourth newsletter.
Yes.
And he kept repeating like I was an idiot.
Oh my goodness.
That's not our machine. That's not our, like literally I was about to reach over and punch him. I was like,
that's crazy.
Right?
Oh my goodness.
So I said, okay, fine. And I literally in my head, they now call it, silent quitting.
Quiet quitting.
Yeah. In my head, I was like, I am so out of here. Like I have to figure something out. And I believe that God opens doors, right?
Yep.
Opens windows, right? It's our job to walk through. Coincidentally, which I think is a God thing, I got a phone call the next day from my counselor at college saying, hey, Mary, there's this program called the Loaned Executive Program at United Way where your company can lend you to the United Way for 3 months and they'll pay your salary. All you have to do is help them raise money. And I'm like,
oh, let me go.
I'm like, pay my full salary and let me do what I've been doing for the past 10 years of my life and loving that. Like I did all the things. I was always the, as I said, the bossy girl. So I was always running fundraisers and doing all these different things. So I was like, oh my God, that'd be so amazing. So I went to work for United Way for 3 months. One of the clients was TRW.
Yes.
Credit Union. I don't even know if they're around anymore, but they were brought up by Equifax or something. Anyways, the woman who was the marketing director, she said at the end, as I was walking out, and I already done like the big thing there is you coordinate like a fundraising meeting with different departments.
Yes.
You put in the video, you make them cry, you hand out the pledge cards and a pin. And like, it's like, there's the thing. Right?
It's a step. Yeah.
So it was a formula. Anyways, so she was like, hey, you've done a really great job. I know we've raised a lot of money. It seems like you're kind of good at, events and marketing. And would you be willing to like come on board like as a consultant? Because we have a big event coming up in like 3 months away. And I think you'd be great at it. Would you be willing to take that job? I mean, it's only like a consulting job,
Yes.
And I was like,
sign me up.
But I was like, and in my head, I was like, I said, well, because I still had that job at Beckman that I had to go back to.
That's right. Yep.
And I said, well, you know what? Let me check my calendar and I'll get back to you. And she was like, okay, just give me a call tomorrow. And I was like, so the elevator door shut and I started jumping.
What happened to the computer? Did you get a new one?
Oh, well, when I took the loan executive job, I just took it home.
Okay.
And then
cool.
I paid to
you
have
had to fix. Oh my goodness.
For my own use.
Yes.
And so, but I mean, I didn't really have a need for it because I was working. Anyways,
right.
But I had it. So I had it fixed. I think it was like my Christmas present to get it fixed or something. Anyways, but so literally I got home and my brilliant husband, we were just been married maybe, 6 months. Not even that, maybe less.
Wasn't even a year. Wow.
He said, don't call him back right away. Make him think you're busy. And I was like, oh, okay. So I remember, because my Mac was fixed, I remember like, we should come up with a company name.
Yes.
So literally I paced around for 2 hours and then I called her because I knew I had to give my notice. So I called her, I said, I think I can move some things around, and could I start in a couple, like maybe 2 weeks? And she was like, oh, that's fine. Then that's when she said, just bring in the PO and the contract on that following Monday and we'll get started. I'm like,
oh,
okay.
Wow. So
I went back to Beckman, gave him my notice, and then yeah. So anyway, so that's how I started the business. I literally had no idea what I was doing. Wow. And for any startup, I would say, 1, don't do what I did.
Yeah.
2, if you know what you want to do, start interviewing people who do what you want to do.
Right.
And flatter them, take them out to lunch, ask them how they got started, say, you're my hero. I want to be just like you when I grow up. And if maybe they offer an internship, you can learn, and not to steal their ideas.
That's good.
But to
be inspired.
Such a blessing to their business that they don't want to let you go, right? They'll offer you a full-time job, whatever.
Right.
But they'll say, wow, you've been so amazing to us. We want to help you. And they might refer business to you or whatever. I'm just saying, be such a great employee. But
that's good.
You'll learn how that industry is done, right? How different things
are working with them. Yeah.
Because I didn't know anything. Literally, I had no systems, no processes, I didn't. Wow. And I also didn't know what I was doing. Like, I had always done events, and I did what I did for TRW because that's what I had done for 10 years for all kinds of other things.
Right.
So I just did what I did, but I never sat down to analyze, is this valuable? Would this be good for anybody else? Whatever.
That's true.
So then I would just go, and literally, this is embarrassing, but this is what I did. So after TRW ended and they offered me a couple other projects,
right,
I just started calling people that I met during Loan Executive Program. I called my professors and talked to their industry friends. And I just started interviewing people. So I did do that, right? So I remember saying, I'll do anything. I could do anything in marketing. I could do a newsletter. I could organize.
So is this how you picked up clients? What was the name of this business? What was the name of this first business?
At the time, my name was Mary. I still hyphenated because I thought everyone knew me at 23 that I should keep my maiden name. Right. Mary Alexander Barnett. So it was Alexander Barnett Communications, ABC.
ABC. It's easy as ABC. It's easy as ABC.
ABC, right. But I just thought, the TV station was ABC. And I thought,
that's true.
I like that. ABC, yeah. And then it evolved from there. And so eventually, when we wanted to take our name off, we're like, what is AB? We had to keep the AB. Yes. So then we came up with another brilliant idea. Since we're
Are you serious? Is that how you came up with? Wow. Yeah. Oh, okay.
I had to rebrand because I was like, that's weird, another word. And anyways, but
you really just answered the question I was about to ask. I was gonna say, what was the spark that caused your startup? So another brilliant idea. We just got the entire backstory. Was there anything specific, or was it just the pressure of new things coming and you adjusting and adapting to be able to take on this work?
That's exactly what it was. Like I said, the thing that I was about to say that was embarrassing is I remember I didn't have any, I had 1 or 2 clients, but not enough to make rent.
Right.
And so I remember thinking, it was around Halloween that I had to drum up. So I literally got fairy wings and I dressed up as a good fairy with a wand and glitter.
Okay.
And a little bag of treats. And I remember going door to door in these big corporate buildings.
That is so smart. That is so smart. That is so smart.
I said, I'm your marketing and event fairy, and I'm here to make your dreams come true. And I would throw glitter in the air, which wasn't nice. I realized they had to vacuum it up. But I was just for the effect. I was like,
for the effect, right?
I was like, everybody's like, oh my God. Can you imagine somebody coming in your office?
They would get my attention right away. I'll be like, well, whatever they're selling, they really believe in it. I would love to hire them.
Such a dork. Yeah. But I'm just saying is,
I love that.
People said, oh, well, I might know someone. So literally I was doing a newsletter for Coldwell Banker for the big corporate office because they were next door, the building next door to TRW. So then I knocked on the door next to them, which was Avco Financial down in Irvine. And the woman, the vice president of marketing, she was like, can you do a company picnic? And I'm like, sure. Literally anything anyone said, I'm like, oh.
That's smart. You never turn down the opportunity. So many great business principles that you just naturally, had already been practicing because
it's called desperation.
Yeah.
It's called desperation. Desperation is the mother of invention.
I love it. Well, I thought it was necessity, but yeah, desperation actually truly helps.
Right. Yeah. So what was cool about taking on anything, which, in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have done that, but
right.
It was, I figured out what I liked and what I didn't. Right. I figured out really what kind of people I like working for and who I didn't.
Who you didn't.
Because there was times where I got clients that, I needed the money, but they were so difficult to work for that I was like,
it wasn't worth it.
So when the project ended, I just never followed up for more business.
Right.
But they were happy to refer me because I did a good job for them.
They
never
great job.
That I didn't enjoy working for them. But
that's good. Yeah, that's great.
Right. I think we also attract people that we have similar values.
Similar. Yeah, I agree.
Right. And so when you figure out as you get older or you have more experience, you realize what your values are. What's the line in the sand you're not going to cross?
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
what you're willing to do for how much. And when you finally get to that point, it's liberating.
That's really good because you can be decisive. You can say, I do this, I don't do that. And you can cut off all the other options because anyone who's doing everything, most of the time, is not doing anything.
Right.
So tell us what all do you do today?
Sure. Well, you never asked why I'm called MobileMary.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Why are you called MobileMary? Please tell us. Because I refer to you as MobileMary all the time.
I know, which is great, right? It's memorable.
Yes.
And that's why I've kind of hung on to it. So I've been in business for 20 years. And just before the crash, actually, in 2007, I was reading some industry and we were doing all kinds of again, we did lots of events. We did trade shows, public events. We did product launches, for people like Kawasaki. We did industry, industry association. I used to work for Yahoo, Kahu, and Nahu, National Association of Health Underwriters, California Association of Health Underwriters, Inland Empire Association of Health Underwriters.
Wow.
I would do all their trade shows, but I also do all their marketing as well. So it'd be getting arranging for all the exhibitors, setting up their space, getting name tags, doing all the coordination. But so it was marketing as well as events that we did. Yes. Anyways, so we were doing all kinds of fun things. Then we were obviously we did picnics, we did Christmas parties, we did service awards, we did corporate theater. So anything that people would be like, hey, can you do this? We're we get tied into this. And then we would integrate different promotions because promotions is my jam. So if someone says, how would I get this to the marketer? How would I market this service? I just am blessed to have this kind of matrix brain that based on all the years I've been doing it. And also I love reading about what other people do. I take bits and pieces and say, ooh, we could do this and put together and we could, make something neat. And also as long as it's a win-win for both parties, all cross promotion is magic, I believe.
Yes.
And so I was just doing that. So for 20 years, anyways, I was sitting around after a Kawasaki meeting. Again, we did employee service awards and probably lunches, trade shows, things like that. So we're sitting around and I'm not going to lie. There might've been a few cocktails involved.
Yeah. Right.
And they were complaining. It was after a dealer meeting. They were complaining that the dealers were whining that they weren't bringing them enough business.
Yes.
So, I just sat back on my chair and I'm like, so how do you bring them business? And they're like, well, we do all the things. I'm like,
what things?
Wow. I don't mean to be sassy or anything, but what are you doing? I'm like, oh, well, we have all these agencies. They had 4 agencies doing so many things, but they weren't reaching the mobile customers. I'm like, well, aren't your customers literally mobile? They're driving your vehicles around the country or the world or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said, do you think they're sitting at home by their mailbox to get direct mail? No. Are they at home with this new, fangled technology called email? Are they sitting in front of their computer to get their email? No. Where do you think they're getting their thing? Well, there's billboards and there's, magazines or everything. I said, you know what? There's this thing called a cell phone. And most people had the flip phone, which got text. I said, I was just reading an industry rag. So note, if you're in an industry, read the industry newspapers and magazines. because you never know where you can get an idea. And then again, it could be a cross promotion, right? So I was reading a little article about this little tech company who came up with a way to capture mobile numbers when people would text in, and then they could send them back like a coupon or a deal or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, that is so cool. They were doing it with a gas station. So you would text it at the pump and it would drive you inside to get a gum or a newspaper or whatever, right? So it was perfect. It was like and then they had their number so they could market to them to get them back to the gas station. I'm like, oh my God, this is so brilliant. So I said to them, Kawasaki, the little marketing people.
What year was this, Mary?
2007.
2007.
Because the iPhone had just come out.
Okay,
literally,
that's what I was trying to pin it against.
Yeah. So I had an iPhone because I'm a geek, and my husband always gets me the newest geeky thing. I'm like, so excited to get all geeked out. I even have a I should have brought it for your show because I knew you'd appreciate. I have a propeller hat.
Oh, anyway, you really? Oh, I love it. That's cool.
Anyways, so I said the iPhone just came out this year, but the majority of people who are walking around have a flip phone.
Yes.
I said, why don't you do something with text marketing? And they're like, what's that? And I'm like, well, so I was just like, this is really great. And they're like, well, how do we do it? I said, I don't know, but I can figure it out.
We'll do it for you.
And I was like, I'm like, and they're like, okay. I said, well, you need to convince our agencies to do it. I'm like, how come I have to convince them? That's your job. Like, you're the boss. You tell them they're not the boss of you. And they said, well, we plan things out 2 years in advance. You have to get in the queue and blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
Anyways, so long story short, I remember sitting in meetings, literally 7.5 hours a day, only on Kawasaki. But the economy was starting to tank, right? It was 2007. We're heading into 2008. And literally everybody was saying, oh, we don't need marketing, which is the stupidest thing in the world. When it's low, like we're heading into a recession,
you got to market more.
You got to market, because when people pull out, you all of a sudden are now, if you're the only one doing it, hello.
You're the only show in town.
Okay. So you never should cut your marketing budget. I'm sorry. Not just because of marketing, it's just common sense. Anyways.
It's true.
So as everything was like tanking, literally they were like, well, you can't do this and you can't do this. Well, I had already gotten a hold of the guys who came up with this, technology.
Yes.
I said, hey man, how about we partner on this? Like work it all out. And then you just do the coding and we'll just split everything. And they're like, all right. I'm like, do you think we could do it nationwide? I mean, I know you've only done it in Texas, but can you do it, or Georgia or whatever?
Right.
They're like, well, I don't see why not. If all the carriers are, across the country, I'm like, yeah, it would totally work. So I went back and like, we could totally do it. So again, over 2 years, they kept saying to me, you can't do this. You can't do that. And again, did I tell you in the beginning, I'm the baby.
Right.
You're not the boss of me.
That's
so I kept saying, yes, we can. Yes. So then I call my engineers. I'm like, we now need to collect all the names of the customers.
Well.
First name and last name. Oh, and we have to collect the favorite kind of vehicle.
Yeah. Okay. Oh man.
And we need to figure out what the favorite color is. If you can figure out the color. Okay. Oh, and we have,
so keep adding to it. Wow.
Yeah. So anyways, by the time we launched it in 2009, I was really proud of it.
But was it an app? Did it turn into an app or was it was just the back end server that sent SMS to people? Oh yeah, that's great.
It still was not a software solution yet.
Okay.
Just the back end, right?
Just the back end.
So they couldn't access at the time.
Right.
So even with them cutting their budget after 6 weeks of a 5-month campaign, they pulled all the money out of it. It went viral from about 30,000 to 93,000, and we drove. It was supposed to be more, believe me, if they didn't cut it off. But we drove over 93,000 new customers to their 1,500 dealerships, and they were ecstatic. Yeah. Like they had more data than they knew what to do with it. Like
that's great. Even to this day, like mobile and SMS marketing, it's the highest converting. And so it's amazing. And you were right on the edge of that.
Yeah.
Like 2007.
I'm a pioneer woman.
Yes. I love it.
Anyway, so I'm going to fast forward now because that was a lot of detail. But anyway, that was 2009. We launched it. It did phenomenally well. We thought, I'm going all in. Yes. No one's hiring because I did traditional marketing and we were phasing into digital marketing.
Okay.
Still, people weren't spending any money. So I went all in on the software. We created what we call Brilliant Mobile, right?
Brilliant Mobile. Okay.
BrilliantMobile.com is the website. Yeah. And I spent 14 years pushing mobile hard. Like even today, right? So in 2012, I launched what they now call a podcast. That's what we're on.
Well, we're on now.
In those days, it was called internet radio.
Internet radio. I remember internet radio. That was good times.
So I actually had a producer who like people could call in and ask questions. So we used our text service to get people to text in. Like I would text them, this is the name of the show today. Here's the phone number to call in with questions. And so Mary, people would call in and say,
I'm going to steal this idea from you, Mary.
You should. It's great. And you can use Brilliant Mobile to do it. Anyways.
Oh yeah. There we go.
So what was cool is, so we would have people, calling in to say, oh, I saw you're talking to, and I'd have like really cool guests on. I don't know, like you have really cool guests on your show.
From all around like the region or where did you get the guests from?
All over the country.
Oh, all over the country.
Because I was speaking on stages. Most people really didn't get what I did. And so they would just look at me with this like,
what is going on?
Dog. What? Let's just dating me. But anyways, I'd be like, you know what? 5 years, maybe 10. You'll know, just remember the name MobileMary,
MobileMary.
People would be like, well, we have a family phone. We keep it in the car. I'm like, okay. Eventually you'll all have your own phone.
That is amazing. It's amazing where we're at now versus like the way it used to be. Cause I remember having a car phone was like super luxury. Or even having a mobile phone was super luxury back in the days.
And they were like bricks.
Remember? They were these big, the big bricks. I was like,
with an antenna.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. It's crazy that today, like our phones are here. Like this.
I know. And this is really big comparatively to, I remember having a really little one.
Oh yeah.
And with the screens, they got big, right?
Yeah. And because of the smartphone aspect, I think, it brought back people want the large screens and the large format. I'm kind of a medium. Like I don't like it too small. So Android.
Well, now that we get all our
Samsung.
we get all our news, we read our email, we need a bigger screen.
We do.
It's funny. Absolutely. You see people with like their pants with a giant phone sticking out of the back of their pocket.
Nowadays, that's it. Yep.
It's so funny. Anyway, so because I had the internet radio show, my producer said, well, you should be called MobileMary, as we were like setting it up, the show up. Your name of your show is Brilliant Mobile Marketing. You should go by MobileMary. And I was like,
that's perfect.
Oh my God, that is brilliant.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I started doing a lot of public speaking about technology and all the everything, I knew everything was going to be
on the phone
related, right?
In that sense, you were very ahead of the time, which is great. So we're going to have you give us some predictions at the end of this. All right. So the next thing we want to know, okay, so we know right now, what are the primary things you're doing with your business?
Yeah. So again, just fast forwarding. So we've done everything from building apps to doing mobile websites, obviously the texting. But so at the core of our business has always been for 34 years is to help people build a list and promote to them. Right.
Build a list and promote to them.
Yes. When we were doing it traditional with direct mail, you were collecting actual snail mail addresses.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you moved to email. And then of course now our software collects both mobile, like a cell number, well as email. So you can collect both.
Important. Yeah, that's good.
Right. So something kept tugging at me. And now again, I'm a believer, so I'm always it's the Holy Spirit.
Right.
It kept tugging on me because people would say to me, I'm just so tired of doing everything myself. Like, can't you go back to doing what you used to do and do full service? Like when I did events and event marketing, the corporation would say, here's the money, just take care of it. It was great. I love spending other people's money. It's so much fun. Anyways, but I used to do that. I do everything, all the direct mail, all the bulletin boards.
No, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work, huh?
It is. But it also, and again, I'm not that I'm all that in a bag of chips or anything, but I have a team and I'm kind of like the cat herder, right?
Yes.
And so I had people who are experts in what they do who work for me. Yeah. I could say, okay, how are we going to do this? And we would come up with these amazing promotions, and then they'd go off and do their piece of it.
Yes.
You have the client approve everything, and then we'd set it into motion, right? All the ad campaigns, all the different stuff. Yeah. So the last few years, I've been kind of like hearing all these people telling me, Mary, I'm so tired. I have all this other stuff going on, especially with everything the last couple of years.
Yep.
people are just tired. Their souls are tired. And
yeah.
so I was like, how could I be a bigger blessing? How could I have a bigger impact on my clients? So I opened it up back in July, I guess, not even that long ago, less than 6 months.
Okay.
I opened it back up and I said, hey, if anybody's interested in full service marketing,
wow,
I'm thinking about going back, doing that, not just building the list, which I've been doing with my software, but offering not only the mobile, of course, and the email marketing, but all the implementation of creating their content, copywriting. And again, it's not all me.
Your team.
I'm the strategic. Yeah, but I have like this, I create the strategy based on the client's needs and wants and what they want to promote, what they want to make. It's all based on their profit margins, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But then I have a team I have an excellent copywriter, an excellent photographer, an excellent videographer, an excellent. So I have all these people who are so good at what they do. And everyone works out of their house now, right?
Oh yeah. Yep. That's
so
way
we
better.
have virtual meetings. We have everything is virtual. And then
I know, everything virtual nowadays.
Why not? Yeah. And so I remember when I worked for Parker Hannifin.
Yes.
I did 2 to 3 events a year for them for 19 years.
Wow.
Like they threw me baby showers. They came to my mother's funeral. Like these were all the executives. I was very blessed that they were so loyal to me. Yeah. But I remember being in their big corporate meeting, we'd have to be in what they call mahogany row. And I'd be a little old me, and all these big fancy people.
Right.
And they'd be like, so where do you have I do these huge events for 1,000 people and all this.
Yeah.
I said, I think I have one of those in my warehouse. And for the first 15 years of our relationship, they really believed I had a warehouse. And then when they got to know me, they're like, oh, you mean in your garage?
Yes.
I'm like, yeah, it's in my garage. What's it to you?
What's it to you?
But I had vendors who had warehouses. I had vendors who had those things. I didn't need to keep 10,000 chairs and 2,000 tables. I hired people who had that. So, it was my warehouse.
It's a smart way to scale it too, because the event, the conference that you went to, like all of the people who were, over different sections of the conference, they were all, controlling their own thing, and they brought their expertise to that one region, and whatever other resources that were needed, we just brought them in. So that's just a smart way to do it, I think.
Exactly. So that's kind of where we're going now. So I am still MobileMary because everything is accessed from the phone. Like we help people get booked on stages, both virtual podcasts as well as real stages. All our public relations, everything is done through the phone. Everything. And so I still feel that MobileMary fits, even though my company name is another brilliant idea. But I just feel like I can have a bigger impact if I can help people do all the busy work that they don't either want to do, they don't want to learn to do, or they don't have time for. If I have the resources, it would be criminal of me not to offer that.
That's really good.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing now. I'm offering the ability. And then we're launching in 2023, one day, I'm calling them VIP intensives.
Are they like challenges or what are they? Are they challenge intensives? Are they like challenges or what are those?
No, it's actually a day. And if you can see, this is my studio.
Oh yeah.
So one wall is brick, another wall is shiplap.
Really nice.
We have a photo and a video studio. We bring our VIP clients here.
Yes.
So basically a team surrounds them. And so they have a copywriter, a videographer, a photographer, my specialists who handle booking stages, things like that, right?
Yeah. Swoop
in. They have 100% of our attention for that day. And then we have fun too. We have like a fun lunch, and then we have cocktails next to, this is in my home, by my pool in the evening. And so we make it really super fun and make them feel like a
mini retreat or something, huh?
Yeah. It's like a 1-day retreat. And what's neat is we can then map out their entire 3 months, 6 months, or a year worth of content, get all their social media, all their emails written, all their sequences, all their master classes, all their product launches, everything done. And then they walk out free as a bird to do the magic that they do.
So the intensives
and then we do everything else.
They're like strategy retreats.
Yes.
I love it, man. That is so great, Mary.
It lights me up. It lights
That
me
is
up.
so cool.
I have so much
Then
joy.
you get to provide hospitality and also strategy plus hospitality equals success. I just think that's huge. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. You should have come over. We'll have coffee in our little chairs. See my light bulb for another brilliant idea. Where is it? Right there.
So do you record studio guests on your podcast as well? Because I know you just launched a podcast, right? How long have you been doing your podcast? You've probably been doing it for a while.
So my internet radio show.
Yeah, the internet radio, yes. Because I've been seeing. Yeah.
That was from 2012 to 2015.
Okay.
And then we switched to live stream.
Okay.
So I do a live stream every Tuesday at noon.
Love it.
I have guests, or I teach how to do something on some software, or I talk about strategy. And so it's a lot of fun. So I literally kind of transformed it, but I don't do what you do. Like you do the podcast as well. I haven't stripped my audio to do a separate podcast, just the video.
Man, I'm going to tell you, it's just one little extra step, but it's going to help your reach a lot too. But I haven't started with the lives yet. I want to.
Oh, flip-flop. Right?
I know we need to flip-flop. Right? My video guy, he's been putting together a bunch of plans for our lives, and we've been going over them like every week.
This can be your live show. Yeah. You could be using Zoom, that button right there. You can go live. You know that, right? I'm gonna talk to my video guy. How can, because we want to have the production quality really, really nice. I love the post-production that we do to this, but if we can get the production quality that we do, like in post-production in our live stream, that'd be something I love to do. So easy. I can totally show you how to do it. Literally, the software makes it so easy. And then you can strip, and it's one button to strip the audio off.
Okay.
I just haven't done that because I have so many things I'm doing. It's just low on my priority list.
Right. And then the other thing, if you're listening to this and you run a podcast, I know Eugene Valdez, great guy, does a podcast. Love Eugene. And I was gonna tell Eugene, I told Eugene, transcribe your podcast. I haven't done it yet, but that's the next on the list too.
Well, okay, I'll just give you this tip right now. There's a software, there's two, actually. I just found out of a new one. There's something called Otter.ai.
Otter.ai. And
that all you have to do is upload this to Otter, and literally everything will be transcribed, okay? You know what else? Second one is grain.com.
Okay. I have one called Descript. You ever heard of Descript? You ever heard of Descript?
No.
Descript? I have one called Descript, and I paid for a subscription. I think Pat Flynn, Smart Passive Income, was the one who he referred it. Okay. And so I just haven't been doing it.
To do it, man.
Yeah, I know.
Well, the thing is, it probably has this feature, but what I think cool is about Grain is it literally you could highlight, let's say, a paragraph. Yes. And it will cut that video out.
Is it using artificial intelligence or
no? It's your words. But by highlighting the copy,
it'll cut that section out.
It cuts that piece of video content out.
So you can make video clips. Oh no, that's cool too. I'm gonna see if Descript does that as well.
If you're already paying for it, do that. Right. And then the one I really love is called Wave Video, and that's what I was telling you earlier.
Yes, you were telling me
about this. You can also set up auto captions and change the words, and then you can cut it out for that and do like frames and change format sizes. It's phenomenal.
It's phenomenal. So if you're out there and I know we have a couple of people who watch this podcast who they're really actually wanting to produce their own content, or they're already producing their content. Mary just gave you guys about all 3 awesome recommendations. And so, yes.
Yeah. And I want to clarify as well. When I said podcast, we actually help our clients get on other people's podcasts. So
really?
It's very important. Nice. Like if you have a very niche type of business, like we have a client who she is a CEO thought leader. Yes. Oh, you might know her. She's in the Inland Empire. Patty Cotton. Have you heard of Patty?
I've heard of Patty Cotton.
In fact, she's the one I asked, to see if you
get her on my podcast, please. Yes.
Yeah. So that's what we do. I have an assistant actually that goes out and looks worldwide for very targeted niche podcasts and stages for each of my clients. So for her, she only wants to be in front of people who are a CEO or would have CEOs in their lives, right? So like an industry specific, right?
Yes.
So we don't just book her on any podcast out there. That would waste her time. So we are very specific and strategic about who we put her on or actually ask for her to be on.
That's really good. Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. It's like whatever, like this circle, right, of love, whatever we can do to get their message out there, because we never know where our clients are really at first.
That's true.
You have to, it's all trial and error. And if anybody tells you there's a specific place, don't believe them. You put your stuff out there and see where people start commenting. Or sharing it. Or asking questions, right? Then you know your people, like you just compare them all. And
you don't know until you do it.
Exactly. And there's no shame in starting with zero. I have friends who there's a woman who I think she had 500 people on her list and she made $1 million a year. 500 people, because they were the right 500 people.
The right 500 people.
You don't have to have a huge list. You just have to be speaking, and that's what in your marketing. And I know we've gone all over the place.
No, this is great because I think people are taking this with them. These are great tips too. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you. So it's important that in marketing you are so crystal clear, and I'm sure everybody's heard this over and over again. You have to be crystal clear of who you're talking to and problem that you're solving for that type of person, right? It might people think of like an avatar or whatever. No, name them. My client is Susie, who is between 45 and 50 years old, who makes at least $500,000 a year, who already has her business, she's already a seasoned professional, but she's so incredibly overwhelmed and she doesn't have time to do her magic. She's so busy in all the mucky muck, right? And she just needs someone to take that off her plate, right? Someone who has the experience to know strategically where to find her people, where to say her message and all that, right? So you need to go down so deep, granular, like they have 3 children and 2 grandchildren. They love dogs, hate cats. They love roses, but they don't really like lilies. Like you need to be like, so
consider all those.
Now, if you're talking just to people who are dog loving, rose smelling, 55-year-old millionaires, right?
Right.
They might know someone who needs your services too. But because you're so clear on the transformation that you can provide for that person, they're going to be like, oh my God, you are speaking right to me.
That's awesome.
Like, you get me. I want to work with you because you get me.
That's right.
Everybody wants to be heard and seen. And if you can let your people know that you hear them and you see them. And that you can help them go from tired to joyful
transformation.
What's the transformation you could provide? If you're a weight loss person, fat to thin. If you're an exercise person, lethargic to fit. It's just something little. But when you speak to that, instead of being all like, I can help anyone with skin. No. The more vague you are, the less impact you're going to have.
The less impact.
So, and people say, well, I don't want to leave any money on the table, because I've been guilty of this for years with my own business. I want to help everybody. I'm a good person. I want to help everybody.
That seems like the biggest dilemma, right? That seems like a big dilemma a lot of people go through.
Right.
And why does it hinder it though? Why does it hinder?
Because then your message is muddy. Right? It just gets, it kind of goes into the noise. But when you laser focus in and you're talking to one type of person, then when they hear you. Now, what's cool is if you pick one, now that's what freaks people out. Oh, I don't want to leave, like I said, leave money on the table. I don't want to leave anybody out. Pick one type of person, or group of people, or industry, or whatever. And then if after 6 months it doesn't work, pivot.
Try different. So you said noise, and I think of signal versus noise. A signal is directed, and it has an intention and a purpose. Noise is just noise.
That is awesome. I love that.
That's what I thought of that. I'm like, because if you're directing,
you're like a beacon, right?
Yeah, like a beacon.
And then people are like gravitate towards it.
And if there's nobody,
just white noise, it's like,
that's so good.
I love that. That's really, you should put that on a t-shirt.
We need to clip that. Okay. Love Treat, my video guy. All right.
Wait.
So clip. All right. So the next one is the growth. Can you just you covered a lot of your growth already, but tell us right now, just kind of, from where you started, when you first made that pivot to where you are now,
Well, I've always kind of done a reiteration of marketing, always some form of marketing. So went from traditional to digital, right?
Yes.
And then, focused on mobile specifically. And that was considered a niche, right? And most people didn't get it. So, so I literally am blessed to work, I always say, from mom and pops to the military, because we currently work with U.S. Marines and the U.S. Air Force.
Oh, that's great.
With our software. But it's being tenacious, right? And going after, and if you have a solution that you want to provide, you just keep knocking on doors until someone opens it.
Right.
And so like I said, everything we do is the basis of marketing, but I might have taken a different tack with it.
Little bit of a tack. And you were saying mom and pops. I heard from the Family Business Center, 80% of businesses here in the Inland Empire are mom and pops.
Right. You were there at that event, right?
I didn't make it.
Oh, I was there.
You know what?
I thought of you. Maybe I was thinking of you. That's why I thought you were.
I did the podcast with the director of
Keenan.
Keenan, yes.
Oh,
Keenan.
I love him.
So, he was on the Founders podcast. So
isn't he a Tigger?
He's amazing. He's amazing. So much knowledge, and
he interviewed the Moss family.
Really?
And the grandfather was there. So it was the great grandfather that started the business. It's 100 years old, that business.
Wow.
But they were saying by the fourth generation, which is right now, they're converting, they're like moving into the fourth generation to over the business. Yeah. They said it's usually a 3%, I think.
3%.
3% of family businesses last to the fourth generation.
I know the intergenerational succession the rate is really low. That surprised me.
I would think so too. You're thinking, your parents already paved the road. Why wouldn't you just run on it? It's
really crazy. That's why I think what they're offering at the Family Business Center is just really amazing, because a lot of the stuff from that interview that I had with Keenan, it was all new to me. And it's not really, it was new, but it's just, I hadn't looked at it in that context.
Right. So that's kind of interesting how he said we have the biggest demographic of family business in this area. I mean, we do live in a large, people don't realize it's so spread out.
4 million people here in the Inland Empire. I mean,
isn't that crazy?
That's crazy. Yeah.
I know. It's crazy. And we've always been this redheaded stepchild. Right.
And
LA, San Diego, Orange County.
You see, and now because of the lockdowns and the high rent, people are moving over here. All right, here we go.
They're like, they want to be just like us. I know, because I grew up in Anaheim.
Yes.
So right down the street from Disneyland.
Right.
And so I remember people were like, "You're moving to Orange County?" I'm like, "Yeah." Or you're moving to Orange County? I'm like, yeah, because I could actually have a yard for my children to run.
Right.
And not just be in a condo,
cloistered up. Yeah, no, Inland Empire is a place to be. If you are in Orange County or LA and you're seeing this interview, you want to move to the Inland Empire. We're cool.
We cool. Yeah, we cool. We're very accepting. Yes. We would accept them, yes.
And it's a really family-friendly region. I've seen that.
It is. We love, and I live in a town named Corona, named after the beer, not the virus.
I'm in Corona as well.
You're in Corona?
Yeah, I'm over here by Dos Ojos. So yeah.
Me too.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm on the other side though, on Eagle Glen side.
I'm actually over here on Eagle Glen. That's my walking route by the golf courses.
I'm the last neighborhood before the clubhouse.
I'm in Wild Rose, but there's the other one. There's a couple of other neighborhoods.
Yeah, so if you're driving up to the clubhouse, we're the last neighborhood on the right side.
I love that. Yeah, that's a nice little area. I love that area. This area is just amazing.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Well, we could have been doing this side by side.
I know, right?
That's funny. Well, listen, I only have a couple more minutes to go. I apologize, I came on late.
No problem.
It's been so much fun. Is there any last questions you have?
Final questions we're going to ask you is to give us your short-term goals in the next 2 months. And then we're going to talk about quick long-term goals and how can they reach you. Next 2 months.
Okay. Let me see if I do it fast. Well, We're looking to bring on 10 more full service complete implementation clients in 2023.
Okay.
We're looking to have at least 2 in addition to that, because we do VIP days for those full implementation clients. But we're also looking to have at least 2 individual and also 2 group VIP intensive days.
Okay.
Where we can really help people strategize. So obviously the group is going to be a little more cost effective than the individual, but it's a time where we focus on their business, figure out their strategy, map everything out.
Wow.
So then you basically walk away with a complete social media plan, an email plan, like all your marketing planned out. And then we hand it to you digitally, physically. And then all you have to do is give it to a VA to plug it in.
For a whole year?
It depends on which package. They have 3 months, 6 months, or a year.
Or
like I said, we do full implementation where we do it all for them. My team does it all for them.
Okay.
So we're looking to bring on some more clients because one, we're having so much fun. When you get a text from a client saying they just landed a $100,000 client because of the work you did for them.
That's awesome.
Like,
that's a good
literally
feeling.
Makes me cry. Like, I remember, we've sent flowers to clients, like, congrats, like you've done an amazing. They're like, no, because of you. No, we're like, no, it's because of you. It's like there's such a fun team.
That's so great.
Atmosphere. Between all of my team members and our clients. It's a big old love fest, which I love.
That's awesome.
So we're doing that. So that's our short term.
Okay.
And then long term.
And then the 3 years. In 3 years, where do you want to be? And then 5 years. I know. And then I'm gonna ask you 10. 3, 5, 10.
Wow. Well, just more of the same, really. Like I said, if I can then transition to maybe, one idea we had that maybe would be 3 to 5 years from now is that we basically take all the magic that we do and then we launch it in like more of a course format where we can actually teach them with online courses, which we do already.
That's really big.
Something a little bit more, granular.
So
we could literally, people could like step by step go and do it themselves.
Oh, yes.
But the whole reason that we went back to full service is that I know that there
connection.
was a connection, but also a call for me to have a bigger impact on people's lives.
Okay.
And I think that's accomplished by me doing it for them. I almost feel like I'm giving them a gift.
Yeah.
But I know I can't scale that to be as huge
massive,
as I'd like to, unless I do the other things. So that's in the work. So that I guess would be my long term to do that, because we all and by the way, I have to say this, and I think this applies to everyone. When you're building a business, you're not just building a business for you, you're building it as a legacy to your children, right, to people watching you, because people watch, right? People say, and I'm sure you hear this all the time, wow, I saw this you're doing, I saw this you're doing, right? Even if they don't comment, even if there's no carbon footprint.
A lot of people watch, but they don't comment, they don't interact, they don't engage. But it's okay, because what we're doing, I think it's important. It's important, because if you stop doing it, they'll be like, what happened?
And what's interesting is just today, this is crazy that we're talking about it again, it's a God thing. I remember it started rain yesterday, and in California, what is that magical mist? What is that?
Water falling from the sky.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Anyways, so I remember looking out my window and the wind was kind of kicking up, and I have these not windmills, they're like whirly bird things my sister gave me. And I remember I saw one, and so I'm just starting to videotape, because everything is content. Right?
Yes, I love it.
Sorry, I'm living through a real life. Okay, So I'm videotaping as I'm looking out at the rain, and I'm seeing, and I didn't even think about it at the time, but one whirly bird, let's call it, was kind of moving a little slower. And I remember then scanning over to one that was starting to pick up a little bit, so the wind was just picking up, right? And they're like, maybe 2 feet away from each other.
Right.
So then it's spinning, and just coincidentally, then I go back to the first one, and it's starting to go really super fast, and like it's turning big. And I remember just thinking, wow, that's kind of cool. Then put it out of my head. Today, I posted that on my story. And I thought, isn't that interesting? Sometimes we start off slow. And then we see someone else going faster, and then we realize it's possible. So then we go, my God, and we jump, right? We fly, right?
That's good. That's
and
really
I was like,
good.
oh my God. And was not my intention when I videotaped that, but it was like, The one fan, and so it reminded me.
It's like an analogy, like a parable.
Yeah,
that's so good.
So then I looked up the 4-minute mile, right? So there was
I just thought about it. Prefontaine. Yeah. I just thought about that. I was like,
so I Googled when was the 4-minute mile broke, right? So in 1956, up until that moment, people thought no one could ever break the 4-minute mile.
So they thought it was impossible. Yeah.
Until that gentleman did it, people thought it was impossible. But then the minute that guy did it, 16,000 people have broken the 4-minute mile since.
I love it.
It's all between here.
It's a mental thing. I love it.
Right. So what I'm saying is,
the sun just started shining. So you preaching, Mary.
Amen, brother. What I'm just saying is, I think it's important that as leaders in your business,
that's good.
You're showing the kids in your life that they can too be the masters of their domain, right? That they can make their own destiny. And then that legacy you leave also is for other young people coming up, or even people who are in their mid ages or even older who want to start over again. They see, wow, you do. Yeah, you could do it. I can do it.
They're getting courage.
And then good. It's our, and I apologize if I'm stuck in talking over you. I apologize.
You're great. No.
Delay. But it's also important then as a business owner, right? A CEO of your business, a founder, right, of your business.
Yes.
That you reach out your hand and you help other people up.
So
they then can be fat. They can jump higher, right? They can bounce up and exceed. You want that because there is no such thing, I believe, as competition.
No, there's abundance.
Exactly. There's abundance.
More than enough.
Exactly. And because we all offer a very unique perspective, all our experience is different. Everything is unique. What we are bringing to the table is something different than anyone else. So if we can help someone else, rising tides lifts all boats, man.
I love it. You know what? That's a good note to end on. Mary, it's so good to have you on.
It was so fun.
Where can people find you at? Online, offline, website, email, social media.
Sure. Oh my gosh. Well, everywhere you see MobileMary. So it's either MobileMary or the MobileMary, because some people, took that name at the time. But my company is Another Brilliant Idea. If you text the word Mary, M-A-R-Y, to the number 71441, you will get a link to a free 15-minute audit. I basically go through and see what you're doing in your marketing. I just do something really fast. Complimentary if anyone wants to do that. Or you can just go to my website, which is anotherbrilliantidea.com. Or if you don't want any of those services we talked about, you just want my awesome software, you can go to brilliantmobile.com. Everything is linked. Everything's connected.
Awesome. We will have all of those links in the description. And thank you, Mary. Text Mary to 71441.
Good job.
I love it.
So it starts by your name. I love it. It was such a blessing to talk with you, Grace. It's always a joy. You are such a beam of light and joy.
Likewise, Mary.
Every time I see your face at any event, you have the biggest smile. So I can't wait, since we're in Corona. Maybe we'll see each other at the grocery store, at a chamber meeting or something.
I'll probably be walking on my walk one day. I don't know. One of these days, and
I'll just run by and slam you.
You'll be like, hey, you might be driving. You honk the horn. Because we live right in the same area.
I'm going to park quietly, and I'm going to run up behind you and just grab you.
I'll be like, who is this?
I'm sorry, I was a tomboy. Is that wrong?
That's so funny. It's all good. Awesome. Thank you, Mary, for coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, we publish this podcast 2 times a week. Be sure you tune in. If you are watching on YouTube, do all of the YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, ring on the bell, all of that great stuff. And then share this out to 2 or 3 people. If you don't want to listen to it, we're on every major podcast platform. Thank you. This is Another Founders Podcast. Have a great day. Peace.
Be brilliant in all you do.
Yes. Awesome.